Hi everyone, Coatbridge is a Scottish town just outside Glasgow. It's in an area known as the Monklands. Today I'm going to be taking you a walk up a street that's got quite a few interesting things to look at. It's got lots of sculptures and quite an interesting history, so I hope you like it. If you do like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Here we're at the beginning of Langloan. Just across the road there you'll see Langloan Primary School. Just across the road there, ahead on the left hand side, you'll see the World War II Memorial. In this video you'll see a few clips of Pokemon Go. That's because it shows you all the landmarks and interesting things to see. It also sometimes gives you a little bit of information about what you're looking at. When you're playing this game, anytime you see a Pokestop, it's usually some sort of landmark. This is the West End Park. Just at the back there you'll see a place to practice parkour, and there's also a skating ramp. There's a chute and swings for kids to play on. On a sunny day this place is absolutely hoaching with kids. Just ahead there on the left you'll see the Janet Hamilton Memorial Fountain. I've never actually seen this switched on. Janet Hamilton was a poet who died in Langloan. At the other side of Langloan they also have a Janet Hamilton Sports Centre. This is where they have kids sports days, they do exercise classes and things like that. It also has a gym. Just after the West End Park we start to approach the West End Bar. This pub's been on fire more times than the Olympic torch. This is the Langloan Precinct where you'll find some shops. Just ahead on the left hand side you'll see another sculpture. I did have a Pokestop video of this and it told you the name of it, but I must have deleted it by accident. This is the sculpture up close. Now passing Langloan, we start to approach Bank Street. On the right hand side you'll see the time capsule. In the summer they put flowers and those green things on the fence. It's a bit random but they don't look too bad once they're there. Here we begin to approach some of the sculptures. This is the Iron Borough sculpture. In the 1700s Coatbridge was a mining town and they would mine things like iron and coal. That's why it's known as the Iron Borough. Just across the road you'll see the back of the time capsule. This is the front of the time capsule. In here you can go swimming, ice skating, there's a soft play for kids and there's also a gym. It's recently been refurbished and it used to have a prehistoric theme. The theme's now based in the future. Back across the road to see more sculptures. On the right hand side you'll see we're beginning to approach the mosaic sculpture. This represents a Scottish footballer. Out of all the sculptures you're about to see, this definitely isn't my favourite, but at least it's colourful. On top of this building you'll see a bull's head. This is private housing but it used to be an abattoir. Just next to that you'll find a shop called Wee Tam's. This is where you phone for a delivery breakfast. This is especially good if you've got a hangover. Walking along here we're beginning to approach the Bank Street Basin. This is where we'll find a lot more sculptures and it gets a bit more interesting. All these blue squares here that you can see are all sculptures. Just under the bridge is the Bank Street Basin. This used to be part of the Canal. It has a lot of artwork and sculptures that represent Coatbridge. This is the blazing sculpture. It doesn't tell you anything about what this is. Just ahead of that we have the pig iron pot. This is where the men poured white hot metal into pig iron beds to cool. Now it's time for a little bit of history. As I said earlier, Coatbridge used to be a mining town, and in 1771 they started building a canal to transport all the coal and iron from Coatbridge into Glasgow. Everything would be transported on a barge. This barge can be found in Summerlee Heritage Museum, which is just up the hill from the street I'm walking along in the video. As you can see, this barge is called the Vulcan, and in Coatbridge Main Street they also have a Witherspoons pub which is named after it. In 1942 they were using trains as a method of transport and they closed the canal. And in 1952 they started breaking the canal down. You can still find many parts of it around Coatbridge. When I was growing up in the 80s, I remember the canal looking a bit like this. It was always dirty and it normally had a lot of green algae. It looked as if there was grass over the top of it. In the 90s they installed fountains to try and keep the water flowing better, to keep the algae off the top. It didn't really work and it was costing the council a lot of money to keep it clean. Eventually they drained it out and turned it into the Street Basin, which I'll show you in a second. Just across the road there, you'll see a shoe shop which has recently just closed down. The shop was called Flossie's and it was Coatbridge's longest running store. It was open for something like 71 years, but it recently closed down because there was no business there anymore. In 2005 they decided to totally get rid of the rest of the canal and build the Street Basin. At the time a lot of people were really angry about it because it cost the council $1.2 million to build. But the council's goal was to brighten the place up and make it look a bit better, and the canal was costing quite a lot of money to keep clean. One of the things that I liked about this was the giant plug hole, because it looked as if they just pulled the plug out and the canal had drained away. In the background you'll see a sculpture that says iron, coal and steel. These represent all the things that Coatbridge used to mine. When this first opened they held a few concerts here, and there's a place under that bridge to play basketball. Just under this bridge is called West Canal Street. In Coatbridge there's a factory called Lee's. It makes chocolate, tablet and fudge and things like that. One of the things it makes is snowballs, and this sculpture represents giant snowballs. This is definitely my favourite sculpture, I love this. A snowball is a thin chocolate shell covered in coconut and filled with marshmallow. This sculpture tells you a little bit about Coatbridge. They say that in the 1700s and the early 1900s, Coatbridge was constantly covered in soot. It would settle all over buildings and it was always floating through the air. So no matter what anybody says about Coatbridge now, it's definitely not as bad as that. The water from the canal still flows under the bridge. Just up the hill from here is Summerlee Museum. It tells you a lot more about Coatbridge and shows you a lot more interesting things. I'm going to take a visit there one day and make a video for you. I hope you enjoyed seeing this little part of Coatbridge. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. If there's anywhere else in Coatbridge you would like to see, or Glasgow, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, bye!